Good to go? Okay, good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the Board of Adjustment meeting, February 11th. We'll start by taking roll. Nicole?
Mr. Shetman? Here. Mr. Galis? Here. Mr. Yannick?
Yes, I'm here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Hagolapin?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn?
I'm here.
Mrs. Mergler? Mr. Mead?
Here.
Mr. Wolf?
Present.
Chair Elfman?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Bob, if you'd like to lead us in the pledge, please.
Everybody, please rise. Our flag's right behind us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mohammed, we have at least somebody new or a couple new people. If you'd like to just introduce who's here, part of your team. If you know who it is.
Starting from my extreme left is Carl. He's our landscape plan reviewer. Because of the cases today, we have asked him to be here just in case if board or have any questions. He's our expertise in-house landscape plan reviewer. And we have Carlan. She is our principal planner. And she is here to look and learn how the board works, basically. And James is here, Bert, myself, Muhammad Malik, and our esteemed attorney for the board.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll pass that. Each member of the public that wishes to speak after each item is presented and discussed by the board has 3 minutes per item. Representatives of association and groups will have 5 minutes. You will see that there will be, when you're standing there, the timer will be off to your right. And we'll start. If anybody is going to be speaking, we're going to now's the time to have you sworn in. So, Nicole?
Anyone who wishes to speak, if you can please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First case number 25110001, 3030 Harbor Drive. This was a deferral from a previous meeting. Let's start with disclosures. Samir? Daniela? None? Thank you. Daniela?
Yes, I visited the location and spoke with the owners.
Thank you. Doug?
Visited location, spoke to owners.
Bob?
Reviewed property records.
Okay. Jason?
None.
Pat?
No.
And I previously had done a site visit. So please go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Your microphone's not on.
Okay.
There you go. You're
there
live.
we go. Look at that. It's about the extent of my technological ability. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Rod Feiner. I'm an attorney with Coker & Feiner, 1133 Southeast 4th Avenue, here in the lovely city of Fort Lauderdale, representing 3030 Harbor Drive. What you have before you today is a variance. What we're presenting for is a variance as it relates to allowing, as an accessory use, a restaurant as part of a 37-unit hotel when code requires a hotel have at least 50 units in order to have accessory restaurant use in the hotel. So that's the nature. Is we have 37 rooms. We want to open a restaurant in the hotel that you can only access through the lobby, and it will only serve hotel guests, but code requires 60. And important to recognize, the property is zoned RMH 60. Hotels are allowed in the RMH 60, so the hotel is a permitted use. We're really just dealing alone with the accessory restaurant to serve hotel guests in the place. This property is a little unique, and I want to go into the history and say how we satisfy the code. This property was originally part of the whole. This property is located 3030 Harbor Drive, as you saw from your agenda. This property as a whole was part of the whole Bahia Cabana Resort property that previously existed. If you looked on the property aerial, you'll see that there, or you visited the site, you'll see that there are 3 or 4 vacant parcels of land right by this property. Those all formed a larger Bahia Cabana Resort at the time. So when this property was built in the 1960s, it actually had more than the 50 hotel rooms, and actually the 50 hotel limit was not even part of the code when this property was first built and developed. This is the only really remnant of the whole Bahia Cabana, the Bahia Cabana Resort that survived, and it's been sold off and is now operated by this group of owners who have rehabilitated the interior of the premises but kept the exterior of the premises, kept the number of rooms that were there and everything else. So it's really kind of, unless you were to knock down this existing, sort of historic building in the city that has been in existence for a while, and change the nature of a small boutique hotel with only 37 rooms, it's impossible to add additional rooms to this hotel on the site without doing a full demolition, a full knockdown, redo, and everything. So we're sort of constrained by the number of rooms that were in the hotel, and everything else went along that line. So with that being said, addressing some of the specific criteria, and then we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Your first code criteria is special conditions and circumstances exist. We believe that there are in this case, like I said earlier, so some of this will be repetition with the general background I gave you. This was part of a whole larger development of the Bahia Cabana Resort. This is the only building that was surviving. There are vacant lands around it. Additionally, the code was amended after this property was developed with its 37 rooms in it. Those are special and unique circumstances related to this property in particular, which don't really implicate other properties. You have the changing code. You have an existing development that this was severed from and knocked down. Those are all special and existing conditions. Your second one is the literal application would deprive of a substantial property right. It is standard pretty much today for unique and boutique hotels to have a restaurant that can serve its clientele. As a matter of fact, if you didn't have that, what you would end up getting is a lot more traffic that this hotel would generate than what it would do, because hotel guests would then start seeking things along the lines of DoorDash or anything else. In particular, this hotel has another unique circumstance in that it tends to cater to kosher. It brands itself in the restaurant would be a kosher restaurant. So it's also marketing itself to people who would be able to use the kosher aspect of its food service. There really is no kosher restaurant around that area, so you'd end up having DoorDash or anything. It's not within walking distance or anything else like that. So it really is catering to the hotel guests, which in terms of a unique and special hardship that is to this property, again, we get into the fact that it is marketed to the people of the Orthodox or observant Jewish faith who want kosher food and who need kosher food, and this is able to serve their needs. Why we deal with that. In addition to which, the model has changed from 50 years ago or 30 years ago. Now you have boutique hotels which have unique restaurants that serve those clients. It's part of the reason why people go to those boutique hotels. You sometimes go to a boutique hotel that only has 37 rooms, A, because you don't want the people, but B, they have a unique restaurant in there that serves them. It's different than the Hyatt Hotel or something else like that, where you walk in and you get the general generic food that anywhere you get. This is what makes it a destination hotel, is having part of these unique foods, which is the unique hardship associated and unique circumstances associated with this type of marketing for this type of hotel and how this hotel exists. In addition to that, we have the hardship is not self-created. In this particular case, it's not self-created. The hotel and the building itself was existing. It previously existed before this whole code came about. Again, the hurricane, which caused the Bahia Cabana Resort to be demolished and only this building to remain standing, did not occur through my client's actions or anything else like that. So this is not a self-created hardship. The code was amended after the building was existing with its existing room structure when it was part of a larger development that now it's been severed from. In addition to that, it's the minimum variance necessary. We agree that it is. It only will serve hotel guests. Okay, that's what the code requires, and we're abiding by the code on that. It's the minimum number of rooms that we can have. There's no way we can add more rooms to make the variance less intense. It's based upon the number of rooms. The code provision is key to the number of rooms available. So there are 37 rooms in the hotel. We can't all of a sudden build more or do anything else along those lines. We also have been in contact with our neighbors. You'll hear from some of them. We've discussed what we're doing, how this hotel is going to function. You'll hear from them, but I believe they're going to say they're in support of the project. We've actually worked pretty extensively over the last couple of months. You'll notice on your agenda that this item has been deferred, I think, once or twice because of that. That was so we could work with our neighbors and resolve any potential issues they had or questions that they had. With me today, as well as our project manager, Luis Canas, either he or I can answer any questions you would have, but that concludes our presentation for now, except we'd like 5 minutes at the end in case anyone comes up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter? And we're opening up the public hearing, so please just state your name and your property address.
Thank you, sir. My name is Jeff McWaters. I live at 3055 Harbor Drive. And thank you for your service. I appreciate it. I'm the president of the HOA for the Harborage Condominium Association. It's about a half a block away from the hotel that we're talking about. We have 44 residents there, and our board has been in great communication with our neighbors, and they're really done a great job of reaching out to us in the community and changing some of their procedures on our behalf, and we're very appreciative of that. They've been a very good neighbor, and we're in full support. Our board has voted on this. We're in full support of this opportunity to have a restaurant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Yes, please. And just state your name and property address.
Good evening. My name is Augustina Garcia, and I'm the property manager of the Harborage Place condominium located at 3055 Harbor Drive, just feet from Barley House Hotel. I speak for residents of my community when I share that the hotel's request would be a tremendous addition to the community, creating a gathering space that enhances the neighborhood's appeal and convenience for their guests and tourists. This new space would elevate the area's profile and also contribute positively to surrounding property values and the economics of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to bring it back to the board. Do we have any questions of the applicant? Doug?
I have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
What kind of restaurant are you going to have? Because when I was there, the restaurant is the lobby. There's no separate room or restaurant. There's no refrigeration. There's no kitchen. There's no place to do food service besides a sushi bar. Okay.
Well-
Also, meeting with the owners, they seem to have the opinion that if they sell a day pass, that's a guest of the hotel.
All right. Well, I will say this. I'll address your second question first, Mr. Canas. Come on up for a minute, if you would. Day passes are part of a hotel experience. There may be some day passes that are sold. They're limited. In addition to that, we do have to accommodate their parking. And we do have to abide by all noise restrictions and everything else in the city ordinance. And all our neighbors are aware of that. We've talked about that. So again, the hotel is only for guests. And if they have a day pass, they would be a guest of a hotel, but only for during that time period in which the day pass is valid. We have to accommodate their parking. We also have to abide by noise ordinance. So even though you might have a day pass, you're not going to be playing overly loud music or anything else like that. That's controlled by us and everything that goes on. So it's a valid part of the hotel. And that really has, understanding what your point is, sir, but the day pass issue or whatever doesn't really address the restaurant issue, addresses who's a guest, who's part of the hotel. I understand you might say, well, that means they might be accommodating more guests than we would think would be necessary for this. But it's not like it's open to the public to come in and dine on something.
If I can go buy a day pass, okay, on a website that's made for day passes, that is essentially open to the public.
But there are daytime restrictions on that, and that's important to recognize. I will tell you myself that when I've had to go to a wedding in West Palm Beach, as an example, I've got a day pass for a hotel in West Palm Beach because we wanted to be up at the pool during the day, but at nighttime that day pass stops. At 3 o'clock, those day passes stop. They're not allowed for overnight guests. You're not allowed to be there. You're no longer a hotel guest at that point. The room charges stop. And by the way, as a day pass resident, they are required to give you a room. That's how those items work. You rent the room for a daytime hour for a limited time period. So they have access to rooms if there's a day pass. If we're sold out, you can't get a day pass. So it's if there's 39 rooms, 20 are rented overnight, but one's not available. Check-in time is 3 o'clock. If one room is not available and you want to go use the pool that's in that area and maybe have some food during the daytime before someone else checks in because they have that, then you can do that. But you are a guest of the hotel then.
So you are limited to your number of people.
You have a room. We're limited to the number of rooms.
So you have events and pool full of people. They all have a room.
Yes, that's what a day pass is. Why don't you answer the question about the refrigeration in the hotel?
Sure. So regarding the refrigeration and the idea
I'm just going to ask you to restate your name for the record.
Sorry, I
Make
didn't
sure you
state my
say
name.
you're sworn as well.
Yes, I was sworn in.
saw
Luis
that.
Canas,
Is that your last name for the record?
Canas, General Manager of Kush Collection. So the idea, the concept behind having sushi is exactly for the point that you mentioned, Doug, is because we are very limited. We are working, like Rob said, within the constraints of the building that we acquired, and so there really wasn't space to build out a kitchen, build out very complex structures, right? So we have some experience in sushi, actually quite very good experience, and this is the concept that we feel that we could bring to bear for this area with the limited space, limited refrigeration, and limited sort of capacity that we have. We cannot serve 100 guests. We cannot serve 200 guests. That would require, storing 5 tunas in large refrigerators. This is just not possible. So this is why the concept is sushi.
And I will say as well that sushi is the kosher. It fits within the kosher. There's not going to be crab or lobster there, but sushi for tuna and whitefish and all those other things abide by the kashrut rules that serve the kosher style guests.
Okay. Did you have another question as well, Doug? Nope. That was it. Anybody else from the board have questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
With that, I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for a vote. Would anybody like to entertain a motion? Once, twice, somebody, please for open for discussion.
I'll do it.
Go ahead, Bob. Use your microphone there.
Mr. Chairman, I move the adoption of case PLN BOA -25110001 to grant the variance because I think they have demonstrated the need for that, and they've qualified for it.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing none. Nicole?
Mr. Yannick?
Samir?
Yes.
My Diet Coke.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes. Perfect.
Mrs. Rathburn?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And the yes actually meant for the pronunciation of his name. Just saying. Next case number 251-20002, 905 Southwest 22nd Terrace. I'll start with disclosure. Samir?
None.
Daniela?
None.
Doug? None. Bob?
None.
Jason?
None.
Pat? And I did a site visit. So, sir, go ahead. Please state your name and relation to the property.
Good evening. Will Laystrom here on behalf of the applicant and property owner, Lonnie Saunders, who is also here with me. We're here today on a request for a variance to allow for an accessory dwelling unit on a lot that is smaller than the minimum square footage required for that zoning district, which is RS8. Let's see. Okay, so here's kind of an overview of the property. Property is located at 905 Southwest 22nd Terrace. And if you're looking at the picture on the bottom, the aerial, just to the east off screen would be I-95. To the west would be Riverland Road, and then it's between Broward Boulevard and Davie Boulevard to the south. It's zoned R8. The future land use is low medium, and then the lot size is 8,446 square feet. However, one thing I wanted to address with that is The 8,446 square feet is the net square footage of the lot, which we realized kind of late in this process, which is why we weren't able to get the exact gross. So if we actually use the gross square footage, it would make the waiver significantly smaller. Here's kind of a zoomed in aerial of the property. So what's circled in red would be the net square footage. Typically, the gross square footage also accounts for half of the right-of-way, which in this case would be 22nd Terrace, which is a 50-foot right-of-way, which would mean that 25 feet of that would count towards the square footage. We don't have an exact number at this time, but we estimate that that would add probably about 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, bringing the total lot size up to the 9,500 to 10,000 square feet range, which would significantly lessen the waiver as well. Let's see. Okay, so here, just briefly, here's kind of our plans for the unit. It's 26 feet and 6 inches by 13 feet and 4 inches with a total square footage of 353 square feet. And in regard to setbacks and all the other dimensional requirements, we believe we can meet all of them. In particular, because of the way our lot is angled, it actually fits on the property comfortably like it would on a bigger lot. So with that, I want to discuss a little bit about the criteria, specifically with A and B. A being the special conditions and circumstances affecting the property, and then B being are peculiar to the property at issue and apply to a small number of properties that are clearly constitute a market exception. Let's see. So you can see here the property has a irregular lot dimension in that it's very angled, because that's where the street kind of cuts through and curves. And because of that, the ADU fits way better than it would if it was similar to some of the other units. So if we go back one slide here, if you look at the houses as you go north and south, those are all very uniform lots for the most part. There's a couple odd ones, but for the most part, they're all uniform within that 6,000 to 7,000 square foot range, where it almost would not be possible to put an ADU on those lots. And if you look at the units just to the west, those are all, and this is all zoned RS8, it's the same zoning. Those lots are big enough to fit an ADU. And one of our primary positions here is that because our lot is angled, it operates more similar to these bigger lots, because on the deep side of the lot, the unit fits perfectly. So, like, for example, if the ADU is going to be on the shallow side, agree that's more problematic because it would make it much harder to meet the code. But with the deep side, if that was a straight across lot and it wasn't angled, then we would definitely meet the lot dimensions anyways. And then I briefly want to touch on the property owner went and did a petition, went around to their neighbors door to door to kind of get their feedback, see if they had any issues with the unit. So we have 10 signatures here of the neighbors, which essentially all said we were aware of, that this unit is a thing. We have no issues with it. We wish you the best. And specifically, this includes the directly adjacent neighbors. So this is the neighbors that would be right up against the unit, that in theory would be having the most impact. So no issues from the adjacent neighbors. I do have an exhibit. I don't have a slide for it, but I do have an exhibit that shows which properties are we got signatures from. If that would be helpful, I can pass that out. Otherwise, I can keep going.
Keep going.
Okay. Okay, and I think that's everything for our presentation.
That's all right. That was almost Academy Award music.
But with that, that's our presentation, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Don't go too far. I'm sure there's going to be some questions for you. I appreciate it. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter as we open the public hearing? Okay. Seeing that there's not, appreciate you still standing there. I'm sure there's questions from the board. Doug?
Just a question, how long has this building been on this lot?
Sure. So my understanding is that the structure has been there since 1995.
Okay. So it's just been cleaned up or renovated, but it's been
Right.
on
It
this
was
lot.
permitted. Yeah, everything
Okay.
in '95.
And what's the use of this going to be?
At least for now, it would be somewhat of an accessory dwelling unit. Is at least the idea for now.
Are we leasing it out to somebody? Are we using it as an office or a den or?
It would not be leased out at the moment, just because currently the code only allows you to rent out an accessory dwelling unit if you're in this zoning district to certain types of guests. But part of it, since the structure's there, we would like to prevent the economic waste if we can by keeping it, which we understand that that's self-created to some extent, but I guess in answer to your question, it would be an accessory dwelling unit, but at this time, we would not be planning to lease it out. It would just be existing,
So at any time you would not plan on leasing it out as per the current code?
at least per the current code.
Okay.
Pat, I know your light was on. Did you?
You sort of asked the question I was going to, but you said that you were limited into the type of people you were allowed to rent it to. Is that transient? What kind of what's permitted?
Sure. So my understanding, and the wording is a little odd in the code, made it seem like it can only be someone who is.
A member of the family?
It was that or an employee of some. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's not really an ADU. It's for your employees or family members only. So it's not rentable to the public. Correct? Okay.
Yes,
And when
acknowledge that.
it was constructed, what was it new construction or was it conversion of a garage or something?
It was originally permitted as a shed, right?
A shed.
Okay. Shed. That was the initial permitting back in 1995, or I believe it was 95.
Assuming it was converted with no permit?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, on your layout, there shows another building. Does this exist?
Yes, it does.
So this is your second auxiliary building.
Which building? I have the survey here if you want to.
It says building number 3.
Number 3.
Sure. So that one is a shed building. We've been in contact with the building department / code enforcement on that one. Our position is essentially that if that building is not permitted per the code, then we're happy to remove it. But we were, I guess, going to potentially explore whether there are options to keep it as just a shed.
Does it count as an auxiliary building?
That I'm not sure. I don't know if staff.
Bert Ford, zoning chief. They would be allowed to have, as long as it was built with a permit, they would be allowed to have the additional dwelling unit as a granny flat for members or for somebody who worked there, not for rent. And they could also have a shed. They could have one shed and they could have the additional dwelling unit as well.
But in your code, it says you're allowed, in this zoning, 1 auxiliary building. Would this not be 2 auxiliary buildings?
I don't think it says that.
While you're looking
Did
at
you want to look and table that for a second, and I'll go Pat and then Samir? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Pat.
So there's actually 3 structures in addition to the house. There's 2 sheds and this converted shed.
Right. The building too you see on the plan is one of those little plastic, almost like a storage bin type deal. It is
littlest-
listed as a
the
building, but
littlest
it's a
one.
plastic one that you could move anywhere.
But the other one looks pretty big.
I don't know if we have the exact square footage of the other one.
It says 9.
It has dimensions on it.
2.9 on your plan.
Okay.
Was that it at the moment, Pat? I'm going to have some, Doug, you could state that. Samir, I'm going to have you go next, and then I have some questions as well.
Okay, well, number 4 says there should be no more than 1 auxiliary accessory dwelling per single-family lot.
Do you have an immediate answer, Bert, or you want to look through that for a minute, and I'll take Samir's question?
I think it says one except no more than one except.
No, I'm not talking
Yeah,
about the
that's-
plastic shed. It says,
That's board. That's for the. That's like they can have one shed, one like tiki hut or structures like that. They can't have like 2 tiki huts or 2 sheds on that. That shed can be up to 100 square feet, maximum square footage that one shed they can have it.
Okay, well.
Or
there's
let's
no-
say the dwelling. The shed is not a dwelling.
Now, I understand the shed is not, the shed is a plastic thing, that's fine. But this building number 3, we have no pictures or descriptions of, so I don't know what it is. All I know is on the plan, it shows almost
That's
9 by
not-
9 by 22.9 as building number 3. That's all the information I have.
That's not part of this variance. So they have not applied for it as per code, as I think the council has just said. They are working with code enforcement. If it cannot be worked out, it needs to be removed. That means, just to answer your question, they can have, there is a shed and building number 3, right?
Yes.
Out of those 2, they can have 100 square foot shed. So, period.
Let's come back to it in a minute, though.
Okay.
Samir, I'm going to take you, and then I may add something which sheds a little light for you, Doug.
Okay. So for this building in question, it was originally permitted to be a shed.
That is
Then
correct.
it was renovated to become a livable unit.
Yes, that is my understanding.
And does it have, like, in terms of connectivity to like water, electricity, everything?
My understanding is that it does, yes.
And when that conversion happened, they didn't go and apply for permits
Not at
to
that,
get that?
Not at that time, no, which is part of the reason we're trying to go through this now with code, with building, to at this point just be as transparent as possible. Here's kind of what our situation is. What can we do? Which is how we decided, okay, well, we would like to preserve this unit, hence the variance application. If the other shed, the building number 3, can't stay, we understand. But part of it's just trying to get this rectified.
How long ago was it converted?
I don't know, but my understanding is it's been like that for many years.
Okay. So it was done before the current owner lived there?
I don't, is that correct?
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
I do have a couple questions for you. So I did do a site visit, and I was a little confused of the layout of the site. So I saw there was the main structure, 905, labeled as 905.
Right.
I saw there was a second structure to the left, which is that blue, which is labeled as 907, a separate address. Then when I was able to peek in the back, I saw that there was a shed like you'd buy at Home Depot. Then I saw there was also a structure that had a window, had a door that looked like it could have been a rental unit or could have been a storage unit. So I'm a little confused when we're saying 2. Doug saw 3. I saw one with a secondary address.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out how all these that could look like 3 housing units plus a shed is not that. So if you could help me with that.
Understood. So if you're facing the property, that unit, the one with the address 907, I don't know
correct.
if that's an actual address or not, but
But it looked like it was an official address, but it was sat so odd. That's why I was asking you to explain.
so that is the dwelling unit we would like to keep. That's the one in question. The Home Depot type shed you were talking about, that's one we can remove, do whatever we need to do with that. And then the other structure is just a traditional shed.
Well, you're saying traditional shed, and it looked a little bigger than what I would say would be a traditional shed. Again, I was only looking from where I could see from side view of the street. But what did you say the size was, Doug?
It's 9.9 by 22.9.
Yeah, so 9.9 by 22.9 is actually a pretty big shed.
It's a pretty big shed.
That's fair.
Which good for you for having a big shed. But I mean, but was that shed something which, to Samir's question, has electric, has everything else?
The shed does not. No, building number 3 does not.
Okay. So building number 3, even though it has a window and the door and could be a structure, it doesn't have electric, doesn't have water. It's just a,
Does building 3 have windows?
yeah. And by the way, we could, if you want, we could have him come up and speak.
Please.
I don't know if you want to come
Yeah.
address the.
And I'm sorry, were you sworn in, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Then if you please, just for the record, restate your name into the microphone.
My name is Lonnie Saunders.
Thank you. Go ahead, Lonnie, to answer the question.
It has minimal electric, just enough for like one light. and that's it, no plumbing. It's just a storage building.
Okay, so you just have one light, and right now it's strictly used for storage. There's nobody
Yes.
living in there.
Correct.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. That was my question. Did you have a question for the owner, Doug?
I got it. How did this come? How did this come here? Was this because you want to sell the property, because you got a code compliance? How did you end up here today?
My understanding is that's through code compliance in part. I don't know exactly how that came about, but essentially then from that point, we've been going through the process of, what are our options here? What can we do? How can we preserve this if possible? But to answer your question, it was the code enforcement at first.
Okay, Pat?
Yeah. So the two questions. The shed that has this minimal electric, was that permitted? Could you go on the record? So you've got this minimal
That was not, no.
electric to a shed with no permit for that. Have you applied for a permit for that?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
I've got my hands full with this ADU thing going on. So.
Okay. And does the granny flat have kitchen facilities?
Yes,
So a stove, refrigerator, what?
Yes.
A full kitchen.
yes.
Do you have employees that are going to live there?
Not presently.
What kind of business are you in? What do you do for a living?
I do maintenance work at a condominium in Hollywood.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions of the applicant?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I know he said that there's not a tenant currently in this building, but was there ever a tenant? And if so, how many years?
My understanding is there was at some point, but
You could still come back, sir. You're still in records. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was renting it out for a couple of years there. I was unaware of the issues with the granny flat not being allowed to rent it. I thought it was okay too. But since this happened, I was informed that the tenant had to leave, and has been empty ever since.
Was that a long-term tenant or?
No, month to month. He was only there for a few months.
And I saw that you guys cut down a couple oak trees on the property. Were those oak trees cut down to install any of the sheds or this building?
No, I'm not aware of any trees being cut down.
It says that there are code violations for cutting down oak tree that was planted by the city.
Oh, that was back several years ago. The hurricane knocked that tree down, and it was actually laying across the driveway and blocking part of the street. So I cut it up and stacked it up on the swale. And I guess one of the inspectors drove by and saw that and assumed that I cut it down. I called them and explained it to them right away, but I noticed you're right. It still is on record, though. I don't know why it's still there. But.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. To your knowledge, there was no trees cut down to put either.
No, to my knowledge, no trees were cut down to build anything. No.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for the applicant? Okay, Davey, you have a question back? Samir, did you have one more question?
Well, I was going to say that address to 907, that is a valid address.
That's a valid separate address?
Yeah, if you were to search for that, it does come up.
Where does that come up?
If you search for like 907 Southwest 22 Terrence, so the property address here is 905.
Right.
And this one is 907. So it does pop up like if you were to search it on like Google Maps.
Okay.
It does pop up. So I know that was a question that you had earlier. So just want.
I don't know what to do with that, but now you confused me more, but thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Just curious. Is the water and electricity metered separately?
No.
Okay. You live in the house?
I live in the main house. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for the applicant? Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Let's close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. A motion or any further board discussion?
I have a question for staff, really quick.
Oh, go for it.
If there is a motion to approve this ADU, does that mean that we're also approving that all the setbacks for this unit are correct and everything, or is that a whole separate thing that will happen only if we vote to accept the variance?
they have to do a change of use on that, but as is the setbacks match what is the required setback for this ADU. We are not discussing anything.
I understand, yeah.
For this ADU, the
Building two.
setbacks matches and the square footage matches. This is the only violation, the square footage they had. That's why we have brought it out of all the requirements. They said they do not meet the 10,890.
Understood. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have a question for staff. If the other building is greater than 200 feet, how come it is not under code compliance?
Pardon me? Yes,
Why is there
as
not-
far as
no
I know,
listing for
he
the
just
other
said they are going to either remove it if it's not. So whatever, when an applicant comes to us, what they get cited, we usually tell them this is what it is, and we take that application, we have to take it on the face value.
And so when they met staff, we brought that up, and they said that they would remove it if they had to.
Okay, so we can make that part of our decision to remove that, or that's not?
I don't think you need to, because there's a code case against it.
No, you should. Perfect. So what's before you is just the current request with regards to the shed, or rather this building number 2. With regards to the other buildings that are cited, they are known to staff and should go through the regular compliance process and would not be a part or a condition of whatever action the board takes today.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more question, Mr. Chair. Dwayne, I know that there's pending legislation on ADUs. If that passes, would this be a permit? Would our jurisdiction over this disappear?
Yes. So presently, the statute allows cities to allow accessory structures to be used as dwelling units without amending our comp plan or our zoning. If the city chooses to do so, our city has not chosen to do so. The pending legislation will take that discretion away from municipalities and require us to allow these accessory dwelling units
Without
to be
restriction
used.
as to size or location or?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, Pat, did you want to make a motion? Okay. Entertain a motion from anybody else on the board? Okay, Dwayne, just because it has been a while, if we do not have any motions that come about, what's the next steps?
I'll make a motion.
I was going to say, I'll make a motion. You go.
Okay.
I move on case PLN-BOA-2512002 to approve the variance requested by section 47-19.2.8.5.A because the applicant has demonstrated the necessary hardships for a variance.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Nicole?
Mr. Yannick?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn?
No.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
No.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Next case, case number 251-20004, 2425 Northwest 67th Court. Let's start with disclosures. Samir?
Okay. I'm
Samir,
confused.
any disclosures?
No.
Daniela? And this is for 2425 Northwest 67th Court.
No.
Okay, Doug?
What the hell is that?
Bob?
None.
Jason? Any disclosures? Pat?
None.
Okay. I had done a site visit. We also have letters that came to us via email and in our packet. So start with you. And first of all, have you been sworn in as well?
I have, yes.
Okay. If you could please state your name and property address.
Amber Armelino, 2425 Northwest 67th Court in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
So I am here with my fiance, Joseph Bertuccio. I'm not going to lie, this is a little intimidating, so I'm going to do the best I can at this point. But we're requesting a variance in two specific areas within our house. So we're requesting a relief for reduced corner yard setback of approximately 4 feet, where 15 feet is required from the side property line, and a 1 foot height variance to allow a maximum height of 13 feet, where 12 feet is permitted. So the hardship in this case is created by the unique configuration of our property. As a corner lot, we are subject to 2 street side setbacks. The dual frontage requirement significantly reduces the buildable area compared to our interior lots within the same zoning district. Most properties in our district can place similar accessory structures while complying with all their setback requirements. But due to our lot's layout and dimensional constraints, there is no feasible location where the structure could function while fully meeting the 15-foot setback from the sidewalk. The sole purpose of our canopy is to protect our boat, which is stored on the east side yard of our property and would otherwise be fully exposed to the intense sun and weather. After we purchased the boat, we realized that we had no shaded area suitable for storage, so we had the canopy installed. As soon as we were informed that a permit was required, we immediately began taking corrective steps. When it comes to the height variance request, it's the minimum necessary for the structure to function for us. The height of our boat on its trailer, including the permanently affixed components, requires slightly more than the 12-foot clearance that's in the variance. A 12-foot structure would not safely accommodate our boat on its trailer, so the requested 13-foot height is modest, residential in scale, and still lower than the primary structure on our property. The canopy itself is located within our fenced yard, and it does not interfere with pedestrian visibility, traffic safety, drainage, or neighboring properties. It's well maintained and compatible with the surrounding neighborhood aesthetics. We've received over 25 written emails of support from our nearby residents, which I believe all the emails were forwarded to you all as well. And neighbors have been nothing but fully supportive when it comes to us keeping our metal canopy structure on the side of our house. I also want to note that my fiance has been a firefighter for over 20 years, and he takes a lot of pride in our property. When there is a storm coming, which last year I believe we had 2 notifications of storms coming our way, we had the company that installed the canopy come out and take the actual cover off the canopy. So we ensure that we do that if there's going to be any sort of storm warnings possible. And then we also strap the canopy down to our boat to ensure that it's fully structured. At the end of the day, we believe this request satisfies the variance criteria, and the hardship is unique to the property itself, having the reduced setbacks on the side and the front of it. For these reasons, we're respectfully requesting your approval that we may proceed with permitting the structure and close this chapter. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I hope we weren't too intimidating.
I mean, a little, not gonna lie.
Okay. We'll open up the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter?
We do have some of our neighbors here in support, so.
Okay. And is there anybody that wishes to speak? Okay. And sir, were you sworn in? Okay. If you could please come up, state your name and property address.
My name is John Conti, 2465 Northwest 67 Court. I live 4 houses down from Joey. I'm a retired Fort Lauderdale police officer, and I'm still working for the city of Fort Lauderdale part-time in the evidence unit. When Joey bought that house, it was a disaster. It really was a disaster. The people that had lived there prior to that had let it go. And right now, that house is probably the best house in the neighborhood. It is very well taken care of, very well maintained. The boat is secure behind the fence. And I don't know anybody in our neighborhood who has any problem with that house and that canopy on the boat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else from the public wishing to speak?
Sorry, I had a hand off.
That's okay. Have you been sworn in as well?
Yes.
Okay. If you could please state your name and property address.
My name is Erica Dallas Kenny. I live at 2380 Northwest 67th Court, Fort Lauderdale. I live directly across from Joey and Amber. My husband and I have lived next to them for 10 years, and during that time, like John has said, they have done considerable work to the property and made it look and much better for the neighborhood. The boat canopy has not caused any obstruction, safety concern, or negative impact to my property or surrounding the neighborhood. It's maintained and blends in really well. It actually, if you look out my front window, is right where it is, and you can barely even see the canopy. I respectfully ask that the city give favorable consideration to this request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to bring it back to the board for any questions of the applicant.
Go easy on me.
Well, can't guarantee that, but I will say that I did drive by the property. I did see that, that 1 foot really doesn't make much difference as far as height. And like your neighbor said, you do keep the property very well, and it was a very nice canopy. It wasn't tethered or anything like that. So I just wanted to make those comments in there.
Appreciate it.
But if there is any questions from the board, if not, I'll close the public hearing. Okay, thanks, Amber. We're going to close the public hearing now. Entertain a motion.
Thank you all.
I'll move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Microphone though.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant a variance to case number PLN-BOA-251200004 as the special conditions and circumstances unique to the subject property have lent themselves to meet all the criteria for this variance.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I assume that's for both of the variances that are being asked, both of the sections?
Bob?
So that's fine.
Does that mean yes?
Yes.
Okay. And Doug, that's still okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We have to state them.
Was there anything else, Jason? Or
That's it.
okay, Nicole?
Mr. Yannick?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn? Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. See, not so bad, right? Okay, next case number 260100003, 821 Southwest 11th Street. Start with disclosures. Samir?
None.
But did I skip a case? I was going by an old agenda, did I?
Number 4?
I did. I'm sorry.
You read the wrong.
Let me backtrack. Case number 260100001, 1224 Southwest 29th Avenue. Sorry, board. Let's start with disclosure. Samir?
None.
Daniela?
None.
Doug?
None.
Bob?
None.
Jason?
Nope.
Pat? No. And I had driven by the property. You're up.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sean Darcy. I am a physician, and I own Darcy Florida LLC. Darcy Florida LLC purchased this property at 1224 Southwest 29th Avenue in 2022. We are requesting a variance of the rear setback. I believe it's currently at 13 and 0.64, 13 and change in terms of the setback currently. And in terms of the specific story of the hardship, we purchased this as a fixer-upper and, moved to Florida in 2017. It was basically a residence for me and my brother and my family when we come out here because I established a practice out here in Florida. I purchased this from a lady, and she did disclose that there was termite damage. I just didn't know how extensive it was. And the plan was to use the current building footprint that she had that was there and just enclose it all and make it into one structure, unified structure. So all the concrete that was there, we wouldn't touch it, and we wouldn't add anything to the footprint. We would just basically enclose it. It didn't have air conditioning, so we had to, do a lot of different things. And I eventually found a great architect and also a general contractor, Mr. Rodriguez, who helped me guide me through the process after I found an inexperienced person to help me initially. So I tried to get a lot of advice from the city, tried to look for prior building plans, building footprints, and I eventually found this architect who helped me out. I did get a survey at the time of purchase, and it showed the rear setback at 15.47. I did not realize that the setbacks were 15 feet. My custom to enclosed places, I thought that they were, 5-foot setbacks, which was my mistake. But the setback said 15.47. I submitted it to Mr. Rinkus when we were doing the first permit, and there was no issue brought up then. We submitted plans. We didn't know that the rear, on the plans it said the rear setback was 15 feet. I didn't know about the setbacks. I was just relying upon the professionals to help me with this. But we did get multiple spot surveys during the time, so of construction, and actually two of the spot surveys didn't show any, going beyond the rear setback. It still showed the 15.47. It was only on the third spot survey that we found that the variance, that it was 13.61 or something along those lines. And Mr. Rinkus again looked at the setbacks and said that it was violating the code, and he then put me in contact with Ms. Ceballo, and we went through the process of trying to get this variance today. And the portion of where the variance is, where the rear setback is the master bathroom or the master bedroom currently. So I was just hoping to get your help and advice on what to do about this.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to give you any advice.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, but is there anything else you'd like to add?
Mr. Rodriguez, he's my general contractor. He was there during the time. He's been very reliable throughout this time, and has been tackling a lot of the issues for me because it was just beyond my scope of professional knowledge. And he can kind of talk about how he was actually there doing the spot surveys and going through the survey, the process in regards to talking with officials and being, communicating with everyone. And he's under oath. I was under oath as well.
Okay. And Mr. Rodriguez, if there's anything that you want to add, and we may have some questions for you, but please just state your full name.
Angelo Rodriguez. And I apologize for looking like this. I came from a job site to run here in time. So.
That's okay. If you're a contractor, you shouldn't be in suit and tie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. So when I took on this project with the engineers and the architects that know me very well, and I've done business in Fort Lauderdale for about 15 years on record with English Art and Corp., I didn't know that when they had this original survey, it had a little jog. So if you look at the original, I don't know if you guys have record, it shows a little minor jog in the back, and it says 15.47. So when I got in the mix of this, which was an after-the-fact permit, not that I did any illegal work. I don't do illegal work. You could look at my record in English on Corp. The person that played out this game as a contractor, he was not current in Florida. So when I communicated with this man, it was all through emails, and I didn't get to meet him till like months later. And they had these plans in the system that I had to go and pull in after the fact. So when we pulled the after the fact, it was approved with the drawing that you see now. The exact measurements that I followed are exact to the T, because I'm very picky. I'm an old school guy. I get dirty, as you can see. So I was in the dirt checking everything and making sure. When we started building and we did the footprint, and I called in for the spot survey, we submitted the spot survey and form board. Now, again, I'm an old school contractor. And the reason I did that was to make sure that we were following the code. I know that there's setbacks. And the property line, if you look at this, it's on a 45-degree angle. Even though it shows it kind of like it's straight, it's not. If you look at the back of the property, there's a slight angle to where the corner of this house is. So when I submitted the form board, it got kicked back. And I was surprised because in my construction experience, that's when you would know if you're in violation of a variance, because I could just move the form board a little bit and just 45 it or corner it, and I would not be in this position with you guys right now because I would have just moved the form board. When it got kicked back, there was no description saying that, hey, you're in violation of a variance. It just said, we don't accept form board. So I didn't catch that we were within, a couple of inches. So I kept doing what I do best, get down in the dirt, keep building. When we started calling in inspectors, they couldn't believe what I did. I wish they were here today. They couldn't believe because it was an ugly house that was in the neighborhood that was corroded with termites, and I'm sure it was an eyesore for the neighbors. I improved that house, and it's the nicest house in the neighborhood now. Not that I want the kudos, but the two neighbors, the one to the left and one to the right, have commended me. Dorian at 1225 Southwest 29th and 1236 Southwest 29th. They've commended that, now the neighborhood looks nice because that house was an eyesore. But in condition with this is that when I did submit the form board and it got denied, they should have put a hold. They put a hold on the permit when I was done. After I called all the inspections, after I had it poured, tie beam poured, columns poured, house is built, roof is on, trusses are on, now they put a hold. So when I come in to discuss this in person, they say, yeah, you're in violation of a couple of inches. I'm like, the house is built. What do I do now? And that's how we got to this place. The funny thing about this is that, I don't know if he has pictures of the house of the corner. It's literally 8 inches from the corner on one side and 8 inches on the other. If I took a saw cut blade and just chopped the column, I wouldn't be in violation with you right now. It's 8 inches of the corner on both sides because of the angle of the property line. The rest of it is in variance, particularly of 15 and more, because you could look at it yourself. It's just the very corner of the house that I'm in violation. So I'm asking for help. This could happen to anyone.
Okay.
And it
Thank
just
you.
happened to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Open up the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter? Okay. Seeing that there's none, let's bring it back to the board. Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you again. Public hearing is closed. Entertain a motion.
Motion to grant the variance as presented because he clearly meets the criteria for a hardship.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Okay, Nicole?
Mr. Yannick?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn? Yes. Mrs. Mergler? I'm sorry, she's absent. Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
That was very good.
Yep. And it feels like an unpopular wedding. If anybody wants to move to this side, you're welcome to do so. If you want to move a little closer. Yeah. So next case number, now I'll call the right case. Case number 26010003, 821 Southwest 11th Street. Let's start with disclosures. Samir?
None.
Daniela?
None.
Doug?
None.
Bob?
None.
Jason?
None.
Pat? None. And I had done a site visit, but I could not see the back where this is, due to the way the townhouse was set. So, sir, if you could please state your name, property address, and just to verify you have been sworn in.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Good evening to all the members of the board. My name is Mario Escalante. I'm a resident with the city of Fort Lauderdale. I'm also a general contractor and pool contractor registered with the city of Fort Lauderdale. This evening, I'm representing the owners of 821 Southwest as an agent, just requesting a small variance under section 4719.2 BB1. It's two requests under the same section. Basically, the rear setback is asking for 5 feet, and also the side setback is asking for 5 feet. This is for an in-ground pool. And I'm asking for a minimum of 2 feet and 6 inches from the outer face of the pool shell to the property line on both the rear and the side setbacks. This is a pretty unique circumstance because this specific property has a dedicated service alley on the rear rather than any adjacent residential parcel. This physical condition is pretty unique to this lot. And actually there's only another one property with this same condition is the adjacent single-family unit. And because of this alley, we have a pretty good separation with the rear neighbor. We have access, even though it's not the access what we're planning on using. And we have an open space separation between any property, any neighbor. And so maintaining the full 5 feet setback would no further be the intent of any code to preserve any privacy, safety, or drainage between the adjacent properties. So we think that based on this unique physical condition, the property, and this is also a not self-created hardship, because the owner, the current owner, they bought this property back in 2020. So all the renovation, this is the first renovation that they want to do. And there is a reason why we're asking for this specific size of the pool. If you see the site plan, the owner is asking for a swimming machine. Even though it's a pretty small pool, he has some medical advice that it's a pretty good exercise. And this specific manufacturer is recommending that the minimum dimension for the pool should be 8 feet by 15. Even though we are not reaching to those dimensions, we think that if we go with a 7 feet wide pool, the machine will work just well enough for the owner to enjoy his physical exercise. That's basically our request. Again, it's a total of 2 feet 6 inches from the back and 2 feet 7 inches from the side.
Okay, and how did we get here today?
The owner just reached out to me like, hey, we want to build this pool. When during the process of designing the pool and the minimum dimension from this machine to properly work, we figured out that the setback wouldn't allow us to build it under the current circumstances, so we went ahead and request for the variance.
Thank you. And just hang tight in case there's any questions. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter? Open the public hearing. Okay. Is there anybody from the board that wishes to ask a question of the applicant?
I just want to thank you for, sorry.
No, that's okay.
For presenting a project before you actually built it. So everybody that's watching and everybody in the audience, this is how you're supposed to do it. Get your permits before you build the project. That saves all of us here tons of time. So thank you for that.
No, thank you for your time.
Thanks for your very clear and concise presentation.
Sure.
Thanks, Jason. Good point. Samir?
Yeah, I wasn't clear, like, in terms of, for the request, like, what would you characterize as the hardship?
Well, here we have the hardship right from the shallow depth of the lot. It's a pretty long but pretty shallow dot. And the existing placement of the principal structure was not a decision made by the owner. They just bought it like that. It's a pretty small patio, if you can see of the pictures. So we're just trying to do our best with what we have.
And is it a property with just 2 townhomes? Or are there...
There are single-family homes, but they were built as a mirror townhouses.
And do any of the other townhomes, do they have a pool?
They do not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions of the applicant? Yeah, Doug.
I got a question, staff question. What's for a pool, what is the required clearance around a pool? Forgetting the property line, do we have a code that says that?
For residential pools, there is no required pathway. For commercial only, unless they install a baby fence, and if they do so, then it's a minimum of, off the top of my head, 24 inches, I think 2 feet, but only if they use a baby fence. Other than that, there is no requirement for residential.
Okay. Thank you. So just clarifying to the board, what I see here is they built this building covering the entire lot with a minimum setback in the back, and now they want to add a pool to it when they've already maximized their space. I'm assuming this is a built-in pool. It's not a freestanding swimming thing. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions for the applicant?
And it's basically to be built like where the current wooden deck is, right?
Correct. We're removing the deck. If this gets approved, we're removing the deck. It's going to be an in-ground pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think we're good. Going to close the public hearing. Going to bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion. Case number PLN-BOA-2601003 to approve the variance on section 47-19.2.BB.1 that the applicant has adequately shown the hardship for variance.
Do you have a second? Second. Okay. Motion and second. Any discussion? All right. Go.
I'm sorry, can you guys repeat so I know which way we're voting? Was this a four?
I voted to a motion to grant the variance.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
And it was seconded.
Yes.
By Mr. Wolf. All right. Mr. Yannick?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
No.
Mr. Hergopian?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
No.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We're going to take a 5-minute break. There's food in the back for the board, and then we're going to come back and we're going to take the next 2 cases. Are we good to start? We good? Okay. All right. Next case. Case number, hang on one second, 26010005 305 Northeast 17th Avenue. Let's start with disclosures. Samir?
None.
Daniela?
None.
Doug? No. Bob?
None.
Jason?
Nope.
Pat? No. And none for me. Okay. Please
Hi.
state your name, property address, and by the way, have you been sworn in?
Yes, I have. I've been
Okay.
sworn in. My name is Andrew Miller with Miller Construction Design. I'm representing the homeowners, Audrey Persicott at 305 Northeast 17th Avenue. We're currently in the permitting process, and when it went to zoning, it was flagged for the attic renovation that we're proposing. The ceiling height, or not the ceiling heights, our mean ceiling height for new habitable space. For the 7-foot mark, we needed to build up the new wall. The lowest we possibly could was the 6-foot mark, which puts us, the existing home's around 22 feet, and we're 6 feet above that. So with the way this is zoned, it's saying that we need to step the structure in for every foot over the 22-foot, 1 foot in. If we do that, our proposed renovation for the habitable space, basically they cannot get what they are trying to get out of the project. They just had a baby, and she has another one on the way. So that's the purpose of the renovation. That's what kickstarted the whole thing, because they don't have adequate space in the house for the children. So looking at that, and if we do try to, fit within these guidelines for the variance, the added rooms in this new space it's almost going to be like a train car, because by the time we step it in, and then we go up to get we'll have scissor trusses, so they'll slope to get the mean 7-foot ceiling height in the habitable space. It'll choke it, and they won't be able to do what they need to do for the project. It'll basically be a moot point for the project. And when we were in the getting the new survey done for the property, it was noted that the southeast corner, it showed 4.9 feet to the property setback, and it's mandated for 5 feet. The house was built in 2010, and this is the existing structure that's being pulled off of. So I don't know if it's an error in the updated survey or how it could be off by the 0.1 feet if it's been there since 2010, and we're following the existing structure for load path and everything else, and just the exterior aesthetic of the home as well. If you guys see the images of the home, if we were to step that in this new area above, it would look terrible. So those are kind of what we're looking at and the considerations of why we're seeking for the variance. One, to fit the family's needs, and the other just for the exterior aesthetic and the upkeep for the neighborhood. Just the style of the home and what we're looking to do.
Okay. In that case, don't go too far in case we have some questions. I'm going to open up the public hearing. Nicole, I do want to make one correction. I had done a site visit, and actually I had been in the house when it was for sale before, so I'm familiar with it. Okay, is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter? Okay, seeing that there's none, let me bring it back to the board. The board, do you have any questions of the applicant? Okay, in that case, we're going to close the public hearing. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, board, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Case number PLN-BOA-26010005. I would like to make a motion to grant the variance per section 47-5.3.3 because the applicant has shown the criteria for a hardship.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion? Doug?
Why is it a hardship? Why can it not be designed differently, that it comes in and steps in and you use more of the house in the center area?
I took the applicant's explanation that it would create a non-viable space that they can use up in the attic for their growing family as their hardship. And I do think aesthetically, I think it actually, architecturally, I based on the drawings, to me it actually looks, I feel like it looks better than, I know that's not the reason for approving the variance, but I think it looks more consistent with the home this way versus having it jog in the 6 feet 6 inches.
Thank you. Is there any other thing, board discussion? Okay, Nicole?
Mr. Yannick?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn? Mr. Mead?
Nope.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
No. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Okay, next case. Case number 26010006, 2866 Northeast 30th Street. Let's start with disclosures. Samir?
None.
Daniela?
I spoke with their representative.
Okay. Doug?
I spoke with the representative and I drove by.
Okay. Bob?
I had a telephone conversation with, I think Melissa, right? Correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Jason?
Nope.
Pat? And I had driven to the property, and I also had a conversation with the applicant.
I'm sorry. Ms. Campbell did call me, but I hadn't gotten my package yet, so I didn't know what she was talking about, and I didn't talk to her.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Okay, you're up. Please state your name, relation to the property, and turn on the microphone if it's not already on.
I think I'm on.
You're on.
Good evening, Board and Mr. Chair. I am Melissa Campbell, the authorized agent and engineer record for this project located at 2866 Northeast 30th Street. We are respectfully seeking the Board's approval of 3 variances for a landscaping and parking stall project located on the property. I'll begin the presentation with the location and property description, followed by the criteria for the variances requested. The project location, Lafayette Arms Co-op, is denoted with a red pin, and the property's general layout is denoted with a yellow box. The general location of the street, for your reference, landmarks Lauderdale Towers is at the end of the street, and the rear of that building faces the Shooter's Restaurant dock. The Lafayette Arms property is located next door to the Lauderdale Towers. Northeast 30th Street is a dead-end street, and no sidewalks are required here. Lafayette Arms is a 2-story, 20-unit residential condo that was built in the 1960s. The building was built at the same time by the same builders as the 3 buildings to the west. These buildings were built with private, on-site, back-out parking, a pool either on the rear or the side, similar landscaping throughout the property, and the buildings are all similarly located within their property's boundary. Expanding on the properties to the west that were built in kind to the Lafayette Arms, to the west of Lafayette Arms are the 2 sister buildings, Lexington Arms and Concord Arms, and again, those are both co-op residential condos. The photos, the elevation photos and the side photo show a closer look at the front parking and landscaping for the sister buildings. The photos also show the original parking intent, which is back-out parking along the front of the building. The front of Lafayette Arms, the north area that's denoted with a yellow box, has 7 existing parking spaces. Of the 7, 3 of the spaces are located at the west end of the property, and 4 parking spaces are located at the east end of the property. The property, again, being located at the end of the street, has a utility pole with a utility anchor where parking cannot be provided. Can you see my, on the screen? No? Okay. But you can see the utility pole and the anchors there. The property's main entrance to the building has a large semicircular paved area, driveway. There are 2 additional entrances for residents, one at the east end and one at the west end. There are 4 existing black olive trees in fair condition at the front of the property. The existing black olive trees have been evaluated by an arborist with a recommendation to remove the trees and replace with a ULDR compliant species. With the property and location background provided, we are here for this specific property at this specific location. We're not setting a precedent for this type of variance for other properties within the city that may be similar in size and scope. We included the sister buildings because they were designed by the same designer, built by the same builder at the same time, and intended to have similar parking and landscaping layouts for the front of the properties as our project, Lafayette Arms. The Lafayette Arms residents are unit owners. They're older adults, and they care deeply about this property. The goal of the project is to keep with what makes this street charming and special and not distract from it with an inconsistent or financially unmanageable design. This is an overview of the existing and the proposed plans. The existing is the upper and the proposed is the lower. Landscaping and green space is denoted in the green hatching for both of the plans. The project scope is specific to the north-facing front area of the building. Demolition includes removing the 4 black olive trees and the existing sod. The shrubs and sod adjacent to the front of the building will remain. So it's all of the shrubs that are against the front of the building and on the sides. The proposed scope is to provide landscaping and parking in as much of a symmetrical and as we can and thoughtful manner that is respectful and complementary to the neighborhood. The proposed landscaping includes 1 side buffer landscape island on the left and utilizing as much of the utility easement as feasible for a landscape island. And the landscape island will provide depth and color, therefore enhancing the area from what it is now. FPL has no objection to this space to be used for landscaping or if it is available for parking. The proposed parking scope includes maintaining the 7 existing parking spaces and adding 21 new parking spaces that will utilize the existing paved semicircular driveway. So there will be a total of 28 spaces for the residents. We are respectfully seeking the board's approval for the variances listed here as they are the minimum variances required for the proposed plan. Literal application of the ULDR would deprive the residents of Lafayette Arms legal, allowable, consistent on-site parking and landscaping configurations, which is of substantial property right and serving the permitted use that is enjoyed by other property owners in the same zoning district. The unique hardship associated with the requested variances is not self-created by the applicant or any predecessor, nor the result or disregard for or ignorance of the ULDR. The need for relief under the listed sections arises from the street's existing development and the site's existing development, including limited lot area and configuration, which predate the proposed improvements. The existing and the proposed parking spaces are permitted by the ULDR, and the proposed parking is moving us towards compliance. This request is seeking approval for permitting the reconfiguration of the landscape islands and the landscaping gross lot coverage. The variances are therefore necessitated by inherent site conditions rather than any intentional action or omission of the ULDR. The proposed plan is not a careless endeavor, but an extensive exercise to satisfy as much of the ULDR as feasible to positively contribute a cohesive plan to the neighborhood. It is a product of multiple meetings with the city staff professionals to address the most feasible tree selection and placement, landscaping island placement and the width, parking stall location, followed by multiple meetings and site visits with the HOA and speaking with some of the residents. The proposed layout of parking and landscaping is compatible and reasonable with the adjoining properties. The adjoining properties are, again, of similar year, building design, lot footprint configuration, and occupancy. The proposed plan was designed with the intention as if we lived there, as if our older adult family members live there. The landscaping and parking complements not only the street as a whole, but the architecture of the building by creating as much symmetry as we can and harmony as possible. So referring to 47-20.19.j, the project scope, and per this section, this legal, non-conforming multifamily property does not alter the number of units, floor area, density, change of use, or occupancy classification. According to this section, the existing property is enlarging parking to the extent that the property will reasonably allow, which is bringing the property towards compliance with this particular section. The site is constrained by its existing development pattern, limited lot area, and the need to accommodate a safe parking environment for older adults. The proposed plan includes, again, 28 parking spaces located at the north side of the property. This area also includes a large utility easement to the right with a utility pole and utility anchors where parking spaces literally cannot be provided. Referring to 47-21.12.a, the building lot length is a total of 300 feet with a total, again, of 28 proposed and existing parking spaces. The hardship is the building lot length is not long enough to accommodate parking with the total required landscape islands. Additionally, the large utility and anchor easement prevents the location of configuration of one landscape island for every 2 parking spaces. The landscape requirement Also includes 1 tree per landscape island to be installed, and for our condition, that's a total of 12 trees. The proposed plan thoughtfully utilized the large anchor and utility easement for a beautification opportunity with proposed shrubs, palms, and flowering trees. The size of the utility easement landscape island and the side buffer landscape island is not only enough square footage equal to 5 landscape islands, and it also includes the full 12 proposed trees. Our goal was to work diligently with city professionals to comply with as much of this section as possible with the given site constraints. And the last variance, 47-21.13.b, the existing site plan, I'll go back, maintains 35% landscaping coverage, which is the minimum requirement for this section. So we're already at our max. So the hardship for this section is due to the lay of the land, site constraints of a narrow street, and limited lot size and configuration. The thoughtful reuse of the existing driveway for paved spaces and location of the trees maintains as much symmetry as we can and adds to the neighborhood's charm and overall design intent of the property. The landscaping intent and the utility easement is to visually camouflage utility infrastructure through strategic landscape placement and enhance the visual appearance of the building frontage and streetscape. The proposed plan is consistent with the intent of the ULDR and the neighborhood design objectives. The proposed layout maintains the same total number of required trees and shrubs as mandated by the ULDR, while allowing flexibility in placement to accommodate the existing site constraints. We expect the added benefit from grouping well-maintained landscaping islands to be an increased presence of birds and other pollinators, creating a microcosm on the property. These are some of the data tables that show the existing and the proposed land cover breakdowns, as well as the proposed trees for the property. Although the project is adding additional paved space to the front, the project is largely maintaining the shrub count, which is well beyond the required amount. The proposed plan has 15 symmetrically placed palms and flowering trees surrounded by shrubs and sod. In summary, the proposed plan creates symmetry and harmony on a constrained lot. With respect to the variances requested, the proposed plan brings the allowed parking towards compliance. The proposed landscaping islands satisfy the tree requirement, and oversized landscape islands where standard size landscape island configuration is not feasible. Although the landscaping lot coverage is constrained by the lot size, the proposed plan includes landscaping that is thoughtfully designed to maximize shrub and tree planting. The proposed plan contributes positively to the neighborhood with a cohesive design that provides parking for the residents and a thoughtful landscaping plan that provides beautification for the neighborhood. This challenge to provide both was facilitated through multiple meetings with city officials and meetings with HOA board members. We are open to the board's insight and reasonable considerations that the board may ask. We truly appreciate the board's time and careful consideration of this request and hope you see the sincere intention of this proposed plan and variance requests.
Okay, does that conclude your presentation?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to open this up to the members of the public. Anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter? Okay. I did want to note, board, that we also had 2 letters of opposition that's in our file. So for the record of that as well. In that case, let's bring it back to the board for some questions. Anybody have any questions of the applicant? Doug? I know you do, even with your light off.
I realize that with the parameters you have set, that you will need some sort of variance, but this is not possibly the minimum required variance going from down to nothing. I mean, it's not like you're saying, oh, we'd like an island every 3 spots or 4 spots, or we're going to pull it back, or you're talking about older people. You know, if I was designing something for older people, I'd pull the parking spots back, put in some lawn area and a sidewalk so older people aren't walking in the street from their car. This just seems like you're paving everything, like the buildings next to you, which has got to be the most hideous visual ever in the world, and I don't see where your trees are. So you're really taking all the grass and trees down and paving it. And then you're opening this up for potentially double parking where people are parking out, which is what happens all over the city when you have a deep area on parking spots. You have double parking, which is dangerous to everybody. So I don't see that this is the minimum variance to meet your goals.
So the specific question is the parking?
It wasn't really, there's not really a question. It's just your design doesn't seem like, you've stated your goals, which are very nice, but I don't see that you designed to meet what you stated you wanted to meet.
Right.
And it's certainly not a minimum variance to meet your goals.
Well, if the lot was bigger, we would certainly add more landscaping because who doesn't love landscaping? So our intention was to break up the parking as much as possible with landscape islands, but we had a side buffer requirement, so we had to relocate the landscape island to the side buffer, but we maximized that anchor easement. It's about 25 feet wide by over 20 feet long, and we'll have 11 trees there, and we'll have full shrubs around that, so it will look nice. I understand what you're saying.
That's 25 feet out of 300. I mean, right now what you have looks really nice.
Right.
It's all
So
grass and trees.
we're allowed to put parking there, and the residents need the parking, so we can't sacrifice, and that's why we're here. We would like to have the parking for the residents, and we can't sacrifice parking for the residents for a landscape island. So that's why we're here, and that's why it's such a tough project, is because we need the parking for the residents.
Right, but even if you pulled them, I mean, these are very, very deep spots. Even if you pulled them back, and I don't know if you can. I'm
If
not
we
a
pull them
designer.
back, we're in the right of way.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, because I also have Pat, I have Samir. I have a question as well.
Okay.
Pat, do you mind if I just ask a quick
Sure.
question first? Because I'm trying to understand some of it, and I did speak to you. But I do notice the lot across the street is for sale, so I guess you're not going to have that lot anymore, which is why you're asking for this.
That's correct.
I know there's a question in what I was just stating. So why all the change?
Excuse me?
Why the change as far as the lot for sale across the street and now creating this, which I can't say would not look similar to the other ones up the street, but why the change? Why is the lot being sold across the street where you're giving up the parking and now have to create parking here?
That's a great question. So I've been waiting for that question. So the answer to that question is that lot across the street was not owned by Lafayette Arms, so they have no control over that property, and they did have a legal agreement, and that legal agreement has been legally dissolved as of last year. So, and I'm not their counsel, so I don't want to misspeak, but that's the general idea of what happened. So they do not have access to that parking lot in the next few months. So that's
why we're here.
That's the background. That's why we're here.
Okay. Sorry, thank you, Pat.
Yeah, and this may be in here and I just didn't see it, but how many, and it sort of it answered a little bit by they were parking across the street. That's where some of their parking was, right? But how many parking spaces do you currently have?
So the current parking spaces that we need to give them.
No, the ones that you have right at this moment. How many parking spaces are there?
On the property.
There's 30.
There's 30 on the property now.
Well, total. The lot across the street
No, I don't
plus
care about the lot across the street. How many
on the
are
property
on
is
the property?
7.
7.
So we're
Okay.
adding 21.
Okay, so you have 7 that are on the property now.
Yes.
And how many are you required to have?
40.
40. So your variance, and because I don't see, and maybe somebody else sees it, but I didn't see that as part of the request, which was to reduce the number. It talks
That's
about
correct.
50% or whatever. So what you're asking to do is reduce the number of required parking spaces from 40 to 27. Is that?
It's
the
not
request? Is
explicitly that.
But
Oh, go ahead.
let me explain. This is a very unique situation.
Oh, that
In my about 30 years, almost 26 years with the city, we have never come across a case like this. The building is already built. It was built in 50 years ago, in the 60s. So at that time, whatever was there, the others were all in conforming with that code. Now, it's like a catch-22. We can't go back and apply that code, which was there in existence at the time. So, you see what I'm saying? We cannot ask a variance from the old code, which was in the 60s. So they are
Well,
just,
I would imagine that in the 60s, they had a parking agreement with the lot across the street so that they met the criteria for
Right.
however many parking spaces were required in the 60s.
Right.
They met because of that. And their site plan was probably approved because they had a parking agreement with that other lot. So
Yes.
that's disappeared, which, in the 60s, none of us were here, so it's not our fault. But they should have projected that one day somebody might want to sell that vacant lot and the parking agreement would go away. But that doesn't change the fact that they've got currently 7 parking spots on the property. They're required to have 40. The most what they're telling us
Get-
now that they can squeeze on there is 27
21.
total, right?
28 total.
28 total.
28.
So they're asking for a reduction, if somebody else would do the math, is that 12? I don't know how many that is. A reduction of 12, thank you so much. All right, because that was the part that I never got, because it's not in here anywhere. All right, thank you.
Samir, then Bob.
So, in terms of the current tenant, and in terms of who's renting the units right now, are these long-term leases, or is it
It's a co-op.
Airbnb, or
It's
is
a
it?
co-op, so they own the units.
Okay.
And they've owned the units for a long time.
I do have another question.
Got it. So are the people? Is it the ones that are living there, or are the ones who own it? Are they the residents, or,
Yes,
or is this
yes.
being rented out
Yeah,
as like
I would say
Airbnb
it's-
or?
No, none
Okay.
of them are rented. They
Okay.
are either seasonal. Most of them live there permanently and work.
Okay.
Mostly retired, semi-retired.
Bob, did you have something? And then Pat?
Yeah.
I'm good because we had that sidebar discussion when you called me.
Okay, Pat?
How are you going to allocate these parking spaces among your unit owners?
So they are allocated per the unit, and that is decided by the board, the HOA board, but none of them they're all equally allocated for if you want to speak, sure, on how they're allocated.
I mean, so you're not, like, unit number 1 is not going to have an assigned space, it's first come, first serve, or how, and what happens to everybody else?
That's a great question, sure. We did not get into how they were assigned. I didn't want to jump the gun.
Basically, if you always had parking across the street, and so everybody had a place to park, now what you're doing is reducing the value of some units if you're not allocating parking.
I think it's actually the opposite. I think adding the parking to the site improves the value. I don't
Well,
think
if you had enough,
Well, how many parking spots do you have across the street?
there's
Actually, I think he's going to speak regardless, so let's get him on the record and come on up, if that's
is the
okay.
HOA board
And I'm going to have
president.
you, then we're going to have you, that's okay. You could come up to the microphone, we'll swear you in. Nicole?
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and property address, and then whatever you want to say.
Hi, my name is Anthony Gondola. I'm the president at 2866 Northeast 30th Street, Unit 19. To answer your question, ma'am, in our co-op docs, everybody gets one space. Unless you're an N unit, which are a little bigger, they get 2 spaces.
but you never had that many spaces.
No, wait a minute. No, it's a 20-unit building.
Okay.
There's 8 on the end and 16 in the middle. Right now, I have more spaces than I allotted to the people.
Okay.
And I have 3 extra for people to come and visit and park.
Okay. So it's a 20-unit building, and you're going to have 28 spaces, so you're going to have sufficient parking.
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
it's always been that way, and it is in our co-op docs.
Okay.
And it always has been.
Sorry, I don't understand. It's always been that way. You don't have,
Doug, microphone.
sorry. I just don't understand. You don't have you have 8 spots now or 7 spots. You don't own the spots across the street.
Across the street, okay, was a land lease.
Okay.
We do not have the land lease any longer. Okay, we own our property where the building sits used to be a lease. We purchased the lease. I tried to purchase with these people, and look it up. They want $1.7 million. I mean, for 4 doors. I don't know. God bless them. Okay, but we couldn't do it. When this building was built, like Mr. Malik said, in 1962, like all the other buildings, okay, it was simple that that was then what the criteria was. Now, Genesis later, you know, you need 25% green space, and the building wasn't built that way. So the hardship is right now, we're not going to have anywhere to park, one. Plus, it says it has to be within 700 feet, which there is no place within 700 feet to even park, and these are older people. I mean, I'm 70 years old, so I don't want to go walking 700 feet. So, I mean, that's our hardship here. Plus, the same man who built our building built all the ones down the street, and they're all the same. So, I mean, yes, I understand with speaking with the city and going with Melissa and doing all of these, you know, what we're supposed to do before we've started anything. This is where we are today, and this is what we need. It was approved for the parking when the building was built. I understand today, if it was brand new, it wouldn't be, and then the building wouldn't be there. We'd push the building back and get more spots. But here's where we are today. That's our hardship. And without this, we have no place to park. So that's where we are.
Thank you, sir.
And
Does anybody else have any questions of the applicant? Oh, Jason?
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Doug?
And I just would like to see that maybe a few less spots and a few islands somewhere in the middle instead of paving the whole thing.
Is that a comment or a question?
It's just a comment. There's no answer. I mean, you can answer the question. I mean, that would make the difference to me besides having it all paved versus a couple. It's one thing asking for not 12 islands, but 3 islands and having nothing. And I
totally
realize.
understand you. I'm a contractor in town, and I'm with.
That's okay. We're going to have you come back to the microphone if you're going to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I am a contractor in town. I understand exactly your intent, but if you approve our application, when I get in front of Mr. Malnick and everybody else over there, you know, if you want to drop 2 spots because I only need and I put in another island, you know, if that's what they require of me, that's what I'll do. But I thought I would have the extra spots because I know the city always, you know, everything's parking. So I wanted to put the extra spots in, so if someone came up to the building, there would be another spot.
Well, Melissa was very clear in our conversation that this was for residents only. That you were not worried about.
I totally understand, but every once in a while, someone pulls up, and I know that, you know, that's what we always do when I build a building, so.
We are required for the code to have 40 spaces. So the intent for this plan was to move as closely to that compliance as possible. It wasn't, you know, to bulldoze all the sod. If we had more room, we would of course add more landscaping islands. But from my understanding of the code, the precedent is to put the parking is more important, and we have to move towards that compliance. We have the 3 variances. We tried so hard to meet as much of all 3 of them as possible. So that's why this plan is the way it is, because I see what you're saying, and I, you know, of course agree. But that's the answer to your question.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Microphone if you can do that.
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion separately, or can we combine the variance requests? I see 3 of them, sections.
So each variance request should be evaluated on its own merit, but if it is at the pleasure of the board if it desires to consider them together, as long as they articulate the reasons for granting each or denying.
Okay, that'll be the fun part. I'll try.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
Public hearing still open.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much. Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead, Pat.
I'm going to relieve you of that responsibility.
You better.
Teamwork.
I make a motion to approve all 3 variance requests because they are, in fact, a package. It is one plan and one development, and the reason is as Mohammed said, this is a unique property. It's different from others similarly situated. They've done the best they can to provide as much parking as they can, and I think it is unique and special.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Nicole?
Mr. Yannick?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mrs. Rathburn?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Chair Elfman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Is there anything for the city commission? Anything for the good of,
To that item there.
well, microphone.
Just inquire, maybe for next meeting or whatever, what happened with the city commission agenda topic item that was referenced in our minutes.
That was probably the one from a couple months ago.
From a month ago, but I don't know, we ever got a report, did we?
We did.
You did?
Unless there was something different.
No, this is that one with the house that they did.
I have a question.
I didn't hear what the answer was.
I didn't get the results, I didn't.
Oh, okay, Dwayne.
Is it referring to the appeal?
I think so, but I was looking for what the language was.
So the board's represented by outside counsel Johnson and Somos. They had the initial hearing, and the city commission determined and has set a de novo hearing for the next city commission meeting, at which they will hear the variance request and determine whether or not to approve the variance request, deny it, or amend your order of denial on that particular case.
Can we get notified of that, or just email the agenda topic when it gets done, or what date it is? For geeks like me that sit at home with a Heineken and like to watch that.
Sure, it will be on the February 17th, agenda in the evening.
Thank you, Pat.
But we can send
Yeah,
you the information.
this is a technical, when the package comes out now, oh, you did ask, okay, you're going to put one that we can open everything at one time? Yeah, because this was a pain to go through each item and have to open it and then not be able to flip back and forth. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask a technical, similar question? When you print out the list of code compliance stuff, can you put the date on there? Because we don't know how old some of those things are.
So we got a definite maybe, right? It's a definite maybe? Cool. Okay. If nobody has anything else, then meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
3 fun facts that are probably unknown about the airport. Back in the 1960s, the Yankees built their spring training facility here at the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. Most of you know today is the Inter Miami soccer facility. Another fun fact, we do have burrowing gopher tortoises as well as burrowing owls here at the airport. We also have what I like to dub the best airport restaurant in the world, Jet Runway Cafe. Everything on the menu is delectable. Breakfast and lunch is available.
Here at Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue, our crews are preparing for this hurricane season. Are you? Here are things that you need to know to be storm ready this season. Prepare your home and ensure your storm shutters, doors, and windows are secure. Stock 7 days of food in